The 137 level for Apple is about to break. At what price would be the next tradable bottom for the stock? Hello fellow investors. Yes, you read the title right. Apple is now trading at fair values, 25% of the highs. That's how overvalued the stock was. Almost a $3 trillion company. I had been calling for a 137 Apple for quite some time now, and you can see them in my previous videos. 137 is not just any number. If you look at their charts, it's barely hanging. It's not a real support you can call, chart-wise. I'd rather call 135 and 139 as supports. But 137 Apple is the 5-year lowest average margin, assuming one margin is 1 PE, at least in our metrics. If the markets are run by the algos, then maybe this is true, but who knows. Now, technical formation-wise, 137 is about to break, following the surge of selling last trading day. What price would be the next tradable bottom for Apple? A possible dead cat bounce because we're in a bear market territory now? Well, there are a lot of price levels I'm looking at, and I'm gonna discuss them with you one by one. Let's just do a quick recap of Apple's valuation summary. There, 137 fair values, $67 is intrinsic value. This is from Guru Focus. This $67 is quite reasonable. I'll tell you why. The current PB ratio of Apple is 33.09. That's too high. I have an allowable of 5 PB. The lowest average historical PB is 5.66. If you look at their PB history, it went crazy from the pandemic lows. Same with the price to free cash flow and the PE. I mean, it's understandable. The growth in their revenues were amazing during these times, and these metrics or their fundamentals could lag behind. But if Apple were to trade like before, it would go down a lot more. Just look at their historical multiples. But it's not gonna happen like a rug pull, okay? As long as the revenues and margins remain at the current levels, margins at 22% and higher, these current prices for Apple are still sustainable. This is Apple's chart. A lot of lines, I know, but I'll try to make sense of this. Let's start with $87 to $93 range here. This is Apple's average historical price to free cash flow. If Apple were to trade back to this price of free cash flow levels, this would be the price range. The $96 to $101 is Apple's average historical PE. And this huge rectangle here is the gap for Apple. This gap is pre-split, and you know what they say about gaps, they eventually close. I don't know about Apple, if it's going to close or what, but if it were to close the gap, then this area for Apple would make total sense. Now, I don't think we'll reach this lows, although anything is possible in the stock market, but really, I don't see Apple crashing below $110 at least for this quarter. So let's take this out for now. Let me just erase this. Now, I'll discuss the rest here. 113 is my EPS multiple of 3. Well, to be honest, it's just a screening metric, so I don't really mind this. $123 here is my mid-entry price at 20 PEs. $128 here is the equivalent price of the lowest margin in the 5 years, 20.91. And $130 is my allowable price to free cash flow. Now, if you ask me what's the next tradable bottom for Apple, I think the next tradable bottom for Apple is this area here, $123 to $130. Just this quarter, guys, okay? If revenues of Apple takes a hit and their margins compressed, I won't be surprised if we close this gap for Apple eventually. About Apple's relative strength, I too don't think Apple is in a good position for this kind of market environment. I kind of agree with Jim Cramer here. Apple might be the weakest link among the biggest tech stocks right now, and the relative strength shows. I mean, you don't buy gadgets in an inflationary environment. Well, at least that's the case for the working middle class. This is why you see most tech stock sell off. This is Google's charts. Google's relative strength is a bit stronger than Apple right now. who is about to make new lows while Google is still at a higher low. I still see Apple outperforming the markets eventually, but there might be some multiple compression for the stock, at least maybe till the next quarter earnings. So yeah, I still haven't bought Apple. I'm not itching yet to buy, but maybe at this range I'd buy. Also, I'm watching 3,600 level for SPX. This is weekly charts. It bounced multiple times on this moving average settings, so yeah. If this is true, then maybe we'll see a $105 Apple.